Hi, Greg here, and today we're going to talk about thoughts and thought structures and how they play their part in forming our personal reality. Have you ever wondered what a thought looks like? Sometimes they're pretty tricky things to pin down because they're moving so quickly through our mind, and because each thought is different, it seems impossible to imagine what one looks like. So in order to explain what a thought may look like, or what could represent a thought, it's going to be easier for me to start by explaining what a thought structure is and what it may look like. Then we can break it down and identify what a thought might look like. So, to explain a thought structure, I'm going to ask you to think about a set of monkey bars in a children's playground. It is essentially a very simple structure that is made of 3 ladders, 2 vertical ladders pinned to the ground and 1 horizontal ladder attached to both vertical ladders at a specific height. This structure allows a child to climb up one vertical ladder, one step at a time, then hang from the horizontal ladder and move towards the other vertical ladder, one rung at a time, to ultimately descend the second vertical ladder one step at a time. Basically, the set of monkey bars is made up of steps or rungs, and each of these rungs represents a unique thought within a thought structure. What we find is that like thoughts tend to congregate together, and so each thought builds a pathway of agreement that allows the thought structure to work in its own unique way. With the monkey bars, the pathway is to allow the child to move from one side to the other easily, using their hands and feet. Another example of a thought structure is a loaf of bread, for the bread is made up of different ingredients, each representing a thought, which when combined together in specific quantities and baked at a specific temperature, produce a specific type of bread or result. If you follow the recipe and the method, or the pathway of agreement, then you will produce a specific outcome. It follows then that if you do not follow the recipe and add too much or too little of any ingredient, or bake the bread at a different temperature, then you will produce a different result. The thought structures that we build within our own minds will operate in the same fashion. They will provide a rigid structure for us to work within in order to reach a specific goal, no matter how large or small. When we are producing unwanted results, then it means that we are expecting a specific result whilst at the same time not following the recipe or using a different recipe altogether. What we are doing in our minds is placing the result first, expecting, and then using any old recipe to produce the expectation. Whereas if we put the correct recipe first, then the results will surely follow. So if we are not experiencing the results that we desire, then it is only because we are using a thought structure that produces something different to what we want. In order to experience what we want, we must first create the thought structure or recipe that contains the specific pathway of agreement to our desire. Often, it is not that we need to create completely new thought structures, but rather that a specific rung in the ladder or a specific thought within the thought structure needs to be replaced for some reason. It could be that a particular thought no longer works for us, or that we have noticed that it is faulty and causing problems within the pathway of agreement. In other words, it may be leading to a failure within the thought structure that causes the actual result to be different from the result that we desire. When we identify these specific thoughts, then all we need to do is change them out with a new one that is more aligned to the result that we desire. It may be that we change the thought out, but it too causes a failure in the pathway of agreement. So we once again replace it with a different one until that position within the thought structure is a healthy rung. When all the thoughts in the thought structure are healthy or working well with the pathway of agreement, then our actual results will align beautifully with those that we desired. So there you have it, I hope that you enjoyed this video and that you have a better idea of what a thought may look like and how thoughts congregate together to create thought structures. In addition, on a basic level, I hope that you have a better idea of how thoughts and thought structures form a pathway to the results that we produce and ultimately the reality that we experience.